everyone, and welcome back at it again with another episode of the Playlist Shuffle podcast. What you thought this was? It is your boy Jay Malley coming from the alley once again, and man, what a time that we're in! What a time! First of all, I want to give a huge thank you and a huge shout out to our previous guest, Terrence Rosemore, coming in for our premiere lounge talk segment. Like I said before, I say it again, bona fide filmmaker. He's been in the business for quite a while, for a long time, and he's just dropping all the gems and the knowledge. And we're so honored to have that on the Play the Shuffle podcast. And thank you all again to those who tuned in and hopped on the live on Instagram to give your questions, your thoughts, your comments. We even had a reunion, so that was really nice to see. And we had a tryout. We had a little acting tryout, so that was awesome to see. That was awesome to have. Uh, I truly felt proud, and I really hope that a lot of y'all took a lot of stuff and learned a lot of things from that episode, because I that's one of the points that I've made this podcast, to give some education and resources and enlightenment on the film and the music, the great things of what's to come when you combine both. So definitely had a really fun time for that talk, for that conversation. So thank you again, Terrence Rosemore, and looking forward to having you back. But we get back to business, and that business is being Attack on Titans. This is still season 3, where it's nothing but Attack on Titans. When I do this show solely by myself. So where we are right now, Attack on Titans recently dropped a new episode. Finally, I believe a couple Fridays ago, and I've watched it 30 times by now. By the time of this recording, and yeah, uh something so great like that, that you watch the same episode 30 times from start to finish. And it's an hour. It's really a 2 episode chapter, they call it. It's weird how they call it. It's still part of season 4. It's season 4 part 3 part 1, or chapter 1, whatever. It's 1 hour special, and it's a masterpiece, and I'm not over exaggerating. I'm not even exaggerating, really. It's truly a masterpiece. It was well done, well paced, well animated, and of course the music, which we are going to get into. Like I said, it came out 2 weeks ago, so I waited long enough to come on here and talk about the music part. Uh, I'm not going to give too much of a spoiler. This isn't going to be a long episode, I promise you. We're only going to talk about one track only on this episode, and it won't let me give any spoilers. Just basically minor buildups, but nothing major, I promise you. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. um it is on Hulu, for those who are wondering where you can watch it. I have Hulu, and I watch it on Hulu. You can watch it on Crunchyroll. That new episode is part of um what we're going to talk about here today. So what the track I'm going to talk about, the score I'm going to talk about, the score I'm going to talk about is called Footsteps of Doom, and it's by a different composer. Season 4, um, they had to make some changes, so it's a different studio and different composer compared to the past 3 seasons. Season 1, season 2, season 3 were all worked on by another studio, animation studio called Wit Studios, and the composer was Hideyuki Sawano. We've been talking about him for a while now. But season 4, a new animation studio came in and took it, Mappa, and they brought in a new composer. His name is Kohta Yamamoto. or Yamamoto. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. Just as talented of a composer that the show has brought in, and just as talented of an animation studio. They have damn near perfected this show with just one season alone. And when I tell you that they made season 4 so depressing, which is the point, I mean, it really brings you on an emotional roller coaster of depression, sadness, and just looking forward to any possible good times. I mean, this season does make you look back on maybe the some good times where you see the characters actually smiling. So we're going to talk about the footsteps of doom and the impact is it has had on one character, mainly of course our boy Eren Jaeger, and the buildup of what was to come um for this sequence of events that has occurred. And we're going to get into the descriptions, the instrumentation, and the interpretations, and all that jazz. And I can't wait to talk about it. I can only hope you were wearing some ear device while listening to this track. I meant to give you all that disclaimer before playing the song. So if you haven't already, take the time, do a restart, hook it up to your hook up your ear device to Bluetooth or aux, whatever, and play it again. Because I'm telling you right now, ain't no way a track like that can give such a heavy blast of a epicness and be that damn good. And you don't even have to know the show at all, and you automatically know like something evil is happening, and I don't know if it's supposed to be coming towards me, but something is destroying something. Somebody has evil intentions on something, but I just know that I'm supposed to be fearing for my life or something. Like s- when something that loud gives you that kind of a clear intent of your emotions, like like I gotta give Coda like a round of applause for this one. I mean, damn. And so this track um appears in season 4, episode 21 from You 2000 Years Ago. And that title of the episode is it relates to the very first episode from season 1 that's called To You from 2000 years ago. And this episode in season 4 is mostly is the backstory of the founding titan Ymir, who's praised as a goddess basically, because she was the first ever titan um wielder. She was the first person to ever be transformed into a titan, and she was used as a slave for her titan powers by the king, who um who they shared 3 daughters with. And when she died, um viewer discretion advised when I say this, uh the king forced his 3 daughters to basically eat her, so that they can have her titan powers and protect the kingdom basically. But even after Ymir dies, she's in this uh place called the coordinate, basically like heaven for titans or heaven for uh her descendants basically. And there's this beam of light that's shaped into like a tree. And the reason why that exists is because the more people basically eat each other and consume these Titan powers, uh, the bigger this tree grows and more branches it is. It's very symbolic, basically. And so uh, this story of Emir kind of basically comes full circle with Eren, who seeks freedom from his enemies, but is sort of a slave for is a slave of his own intentions, which is basically going out beyond the beyond the island that he and his people live on, Paradise Island, and destroy all of humanity beyond the island. And by doing that, he he visits the coordinate along with his half brother Zeke, and he asks Ymir basically to give him her power, give him the power of the founding Titan, and he's basically going to basically end it all. And because both of them sort of share their sufferings, basically, Ymir grants Aaron's wish, and he becomes this huge, ginormous monster of a Titan, which is very I is very ironic in a way that he ultimately becomes what he's hate for all throughout his years. He has become what he is basically fought against for majority of his life, which are Titans. So he becomes a Titan, and then he not only he becomes this huge, ginormous Titan, but he's released the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Titans that are within these walls that have barricaded humanity living on Paradise Island from the invading Titans. Um, these wall Titans were built um, by the king himself, by another king, and so he sent a message to the world, basically saying, "If you interfere with our way of life, we will release the rumbling on the world." And that was a threat that basically went that was heated until the enemy, which are the Marlians, decide to send these warriors to break the wall, and then basically started this whole story. So during this sequence, Aaron is changing into this ginormous Titan. It doesn't actually start from the beginning of the tracks. It doesn't get all it's not all explosion or anything like that. Not from the music standpoint. When you hear it, it's actually in the section where it goes, bum, 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 bum. It starts all the way from there. Um, and then once the we don't see Aaron in full form yet. He's in the middle of transformation, but at the same time, the walls are cracking and the walls start to cave in, and then it basically skims over to the bum, 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 uh, with that low string section, and then the male voices come in, and then it just plays on from there with the heavy drums, the heavy percussion, and the heavy brass, uh, uh, repeating that melody line, and then and then it goes to the ba 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 ba, and it's just like pandemonium going on. These the debris from the walls are just trashing everything and falling on everybody, and then we get into the small intermission break, got the notes on the screens. It's basically a commercial. It's basically a commercial break, but it shows some side note details from those for those who watch the show. You know what I'm talking about. So when we jump right back in, we see the point of view of Armin and Mikasa as they're staring in awe of this huge creature, and from that point it's like who is Eren. He's like this round huge earthworm kind of looking monster. We don't see him in his uh at least we don't see him from the front. I mean, we're seeing him from the back, so we're only guessing what the hell this thing is and why does it look the way it does. And we're trying to figure out what exactly is it that what is the form that Aaron is taking on. And then it takes a while for um you know the until the last episode of season 4 part 2, right before the newest episode that drops, that we see um Aaron from the front and we see him as a whole, which is very badass, by the way. Very, very badass. But for right now, we only see him from the back, through Armin and Mikasa's point of view. And the track actually repeats from where it started in the episode, that bum bum bum, which I didn't really pay attention to much. But when I realized it, I was like, this is sort of an interesting sort of editing. And it's not like they've taken anything out. They didn't really take any instrumentation out. It's just they just play it in its whole how it was all composed, and just skipped certain sections and repeat certain sections. And so after that repeat, then it skims way over to the slow strings and the drolling male voices that oh ooh, oh, so. And this is where like Armin and Mikasa are conversating. Armin saying like, "Oh my gosh, we did it! We beat the Marlians who were invading Paradise at the time." Uh, he's telling Mikasa, "Aaron did it. He's won." And he started the rumbling now, so he's anticipating that Aaron's going to just uh take out the land of Marley with the rumbling, until he realizes that every single wall titan from all the walls have been released. And he's like bamboozled. He's just like, wait a minute, it shouldn't really take all these titans to destroy Marley. So why would Aaron release every single Titan from the walls? Like all the walls are down now. They're exposed. And then all of a sudden the track goes into a sudden silence because Aaron has used his founding powers to sort of like teleport his people, Armin, Mikasa, and everybody who's the who are Eldians or the subjects of Ymir. And they're like, the visuals say like they're teleported into the coordinate, but really Aaron is just uh he's reaching out to them. He's using telekinetic powers to speak with them, to speak to them and address them all at once. And he's just like, hear me, subjects of Ymir. My name is Eren Jaeger, and I've accomplished my goals in gaining the founding powers. I've released all the wall uh, titans and started their march for the rumbling. The world sees us as devils, and they want to eradicate all of us, but I won't let it happen. I want to protect my home, and so by doing that, I'm gonna crush all the humans around the world, and I'm gonna kill every last one of them. So during this monologue, right after the sudden silence, this is where the now we get into this edited mix. So if you remember at the last section where it goes ba da 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 ba da. So in the episode while Aaron's doing this monologue, you don't actually hear uh the instruments, you don't hear the percussion, you only hear the choir. Yeah, you only hear the choir uh singing those notes. And it's just eerie uh while during this monologue. It accompanies Aaron so well, and I'm gonna address that real soon. I want to get more into that in terms of my interpretation. Um, Man, like those with the choir themselves, having that sort of solo and those harmonies, just oh man, they just hit so well. And then the episode ends, and I'm gonna give like a little quick analysis of the newest episode and what's how this score was used. So uh, the rumbling is happening now on Marley, and Armin, the Casa, and the rest of the scouts who have decided to go against Aaron's wishes are basically chasing him down, but they got to go to this port and fuel a plane. And circumstances had changed because of one major incident, one major cause that caused a major effect. So after this cause had happened, the rumbling has reached to the port that they're at right now. And when I mean the rest of the scouts, I mean like Hanji, Levi, uh you got the Marleyan soldiers like Reiner, Andy, and the little kids, and some of the engineers and the pilot on Yakapo. The rumbling has caught up to the port, and it's here where well, first of all, at the beginning of the newest episode, all you hear is a whoa, so, whoa, at the intro, at the title sequence. But back to the port, when the rumbling, the when the port starts to shake, they realize like, oh no, it's arrived, and then you hear that oh man, that bad synth beats, the dun 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 dun. And Reiner goes out and goes sees like, oh no, it's the rumbling. And you don't really hear much of the major instruments that plays during that part. It's just that electronic sort of percussion, as well as the the timpani and the bass drum. But I like how the electronic percussion is just like sort of droning with that beat, and then we get to the normal um uh we transition to the ba-da-da-da, as the Titans get closer and closer and closer. Uh it plays out from there. It doesn't skip anything. Uh the only thing is that the percussion fades away, right? It doesn't really come in until the bo so and that's only like a bass drum that accompanies that. But it's really effective because you really feel the heroic, but you really feel the contrast between this evil that's descending upon them, and then along with the fear and the uncertainty, and then all of a sudden you have this heroic moment that stands in the way of this evil. So I like that contrast, and even the visuals sort of help that contrast too in terms of the color code. So the color palette, and so I just enjoyed that so much with that scene. And now for the interpretations. All that's going on in the composition. You have these crescendoing voices. You got the synth beats and the synth distortion accompanied by strings, the chimes or the toll bells, the heavy brass, the electric percussion, eerie harmonies. You got the low strings, bass, and the low male choir, and the releasing transitions, the the build up toward the transitions. Like I love how each section ends is like a release, and it helps enter into another transition. Like how a note may be sustained, and then it crescendos, and then it releases. So with all that happened, all that going on in 2 episodes, and even in season 4, episode 21, with during Eren's transformation, it's like it don't really last. It doesn't last that long, so that's why you got all those edits. This track is 5 minutes long. Was all that's going on? I say like it's like a 2, maybe 3 minute sequence happening. So you understand those edits and those cuts. My interpretation in some of these instrumental elements, like I said, this track is called Footsteps of Doom. Kohta, he really translates that well in this track with the pounding timpani and bass drums. Those are the footsteps. He's literally juxtaposing the footsteps with those timpani and bass drum hits. Is giving you that perspective every time all the instruments fade away and it's just those percussion. You feel like those footsteps, the titans, are coming towards you. And then when we transition into another section of the track, it's like it's making you look up as if a titan is like right in front of you. And I just love that, how a track like this can manipulate you into thinking that you're there. It's putting you in that world. That's why Attack on Titans has such a masterful world building technique, because the music really helps viewers. It really puts viewers into that world, like you're living in it. Now let's talk about the choir, because the choir is absolutely amazing, especially the low male choir voices. I love that section with the ba da 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 ba da da da. I love that section so much. Why? Because I feel like I said it before in previous episode, but the voices, I always feel like they speak for the Titans. So Eren is the master of this rumbling, and the Wall Titans are only marching on his command. So it's like the male choir is like the soldiers, right? They're the soldiers marching, almost like they're singing an anthem of somewhat, an anthem that serves Eren's agenda, that serves his intentions. his evil intentions. Man, come on, stop playing. All those titans are represented by this male choir. Each note, the rhythm of the melody is just, man, you just sort of feel it. And I didn't really think of this until it took me some time to make me realize that, a lot of times I've been saying like the choir represents the voices. It took me a while to, come up with that interpretation, and it just makes me feel like the dots are connected somehow in a way. I have this one strong interpretation that I literally recently thought about. So we're sticking with the choir, and we talked about the last section of this track when Eren is doing his monologue through telekinesis and reaching out to all of the subjects of the mirror or the Eldians all at once, and the choir is going to da 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 da. When you fast forward a bit later in that section, you hear the choir going ba da 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 da. Don't it remind you of something? If you've been listening to the past 3 episodes of my Attack on Titans takes, don't it remind you of a certain section in a certain song? Remember, I said this is Eren's transformation into basically God mode. He's got the founding titan, but he's in God mode right now. He's again reaching out to people through telekinesis, for God's sakes. That choir piece right there, it reminds me of Eren's theme song, and during the chorus, and then you have that little instrumental breakdown that literally goes da 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 da. Now that was a different composer. That was Hideyuki Sawano. You don't think there's any similarities? You don't think there's similarities between the two? I can tell you that there's a common denominator, and it's Eren Jaeger. I said that his theme songs from Hideyuki Sawano's compositions were his character development songs. They were to help build him up from when he was a helpless child against the Titans to a fighting warrior against the Titans. But Footsteps of Doom, if I correlate the two, Footsteps of Doom has solidified Eren Jaeger's character development because he's reached his ultimate goal. His goal in season 4, well, really from the beginning, honestly, because it's a complex storyline. Eren has reached God mode and is about to wreck humanity. And that was what that section, that's what that choir part was telling me. The correlations of Eren's theme song to Footsteps of Doom just by that section alone. I don't know if both Hideyuki and Kohta planned this. I don't know if Kohta was paying tribute. I don't know if Kohta understood the assignment to as he sat in the chair and composed this track and say, how am I supposed to put the icing on the cake of Eren Jaeger's character development? Let me listen to Hideyuki's composition. Let me listen to the Attack on Titan song. let me listen to what I believe to be Eren Jaeger's character development song, and see what exactly did he do that I could do to help me cap off Eren Jaeger's character. This is just me. This is just me noticing the similarities, but I can't help but to share that. I can't help to get that off my chest. And if that's the case, if they really are parallel to each other, if they correlate to each other for Eren's character sake, then I gotta standing ovation, because that is a very crucial part that I believe that has solidified Eren's greatness, honestly. And I say greatness, I mean the way he is written, the way he's developed, the way that he's grown, the way he's pushed himself. Eren Jaeger is one of those legendary characters that comes in once in a lifetime. Why? Because the music certainly serves him well. Outside of the storytelling, from the writing, the visuals, whatever. But my God, tracks like this is why I have to talk to you all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Footsteps of Doom. I hope you had a fun time. I hope you've been enlightened. I hope this interests you in watching the show, because there won't be another show like this in our lifetime. And I'm one of those people who thanks my creator for letting me live and witness such masterpiece, especially from this new episode that just dropped a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm gonna be so thankful and grateful that I exist, knowing that this exists in my lifetime. And I'm gonna keep listening to this track, and I'll just enjoy this heavy, eerie blast of dark, epic, climatic tone that's built for a monster turned to God mode. That God is Eren Jaeger. This has been your boy Jay Malley, talking about Attack on Titans throughout season 3. Be on the lookout for more YouTube uploads. Please follow our Instagram, Playlist Shuffle podcast. You can even follow my personal Instagram, J Malley _guy. This has been another Playlist Shuffle podcast episode, Attack on Titans edition. And I'll see y'all next time. Oh my God, bro. Stop playing.